It's World Television Day. Yes, that's a thing. Led by the United Nations, the annual observance recognizes the television as a powerful tool for shining light on issues big and small the world over. Today we're using this medium to do just that. In this half-hour JIS television program, we'll be exploring the issue of local governance, what it means to be a good influence for your children, and much more. I'm Theodore, and like my colleague Adrian told you this time last week, our content is substance over hype. Welcome.
Jamaica, this is Kevin Downswell. We original. We were blessed. We have something about us that the world craves. We don't need to compromise. We don't need to rob. We don't need to thief nobody. Everybody who watch this have something unique in them that God placed in you, that was used to bring you favor, was used to bring you wealth. Find it. It's inside of you. Whether they're on the street side, something special inside of you. Whether they're at the bar or drink rum and you try to drink away your troubles, listen to me. And I'll say go. If you find that thing is what is the very thing that will bring you wealth, the very thing that will bring your life to a level you never imagined. Everybody out there have a choice. And my challenge to you is choose to do the right thing. Choose to not bust that gun. Choose to not smoke that weed. Choose the right thing. Your decision will create a habit, and your habit will create a future. That means if your decision is wrong every day, your future will end up being popped down. But if you decide that you're not going to do that, and you're going to stand up for the right, watch it. Your future big. You're blessed. Jamaica, you're blessed. Youth, you're blessed. Girl, you're blessed. Love.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, November 21. Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, Christine Lagarde, says Jamaica is setting standards in the collaborative approach being taken in implementing the economic reform program.
I have never seen a program that is inclusive in the way in which you reach out to civil society in the way you do. And the various committees that have all along accompanied the programs are critical to actually understand, negotiate, endorse, and eventually implement at the end of the day what you committed to do.
These include generating higher levels of sustainable economic growth and further debt reduction.
I hope that continues and that this communication, this consultative process that you have used so far will continue throughout the years to come, and particularly throughout the process that you are starting now on the public sector.
Ms. Lagarde was speaking at a joint government IMF press briefing on Friday. It followed bilateral talks with Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The government is now undertaking structural and economic reforms in keeping with stipulations under the IMF's 3-year precautionary standby arrangement. Meanwhile, in his remark, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said government was keen on building partnerships and had incorporated additional stakeholders to monitor the reform efforts. The Prime Minister said Jamaica was at the point where it was taking more ownership and responsibility for its economic reforms, while utilizing the technical assistance and support of the IMF.
We have to take ownership. And in taking ownership, we have to become disciplined. Disciplined in our fiscal affairs, discipline in our monetary affairs, and certainly we have to evolve a culture of economic growth and creating jobs for our people, and we have to take an optimistic view of the future that we will bring prosperity to our people.
The Bank of Jamaica Amendment Act 2017 was passed in the Senate on Friday. The bill will allow for the extension of the BOJ governor's tenure by at least 2 years, after which the post will be advertised. The Governor-General in Council will then appoint a new central bank governor to serve for a period not less than 7 years. Current Governor Brian Winter, whose contract expires soon, was first appointed in 2009. In piloting the bill, National Security State Minister Senator Pernell Charles Jr. said it was important to extend the current governor's leadership of the central bank to continue crucial reforms that are being undertaken at the institution.
There is an intensive program in place to allow for finalization of these reforms over the next 2 to 3 years. Completion of the reforms will require considerable work and full engagement of the leadership of the bank and its stakeholders.
Senator Charles says Mr. Winter has the confidence of the government and the financial sector, as well as the wider public and external partners, in his role to establish a fiscal rules regime, modernize the foreign exchange market, and stabilize the rate of inflation, among other pivotal targets. The Bank of Jamaica Amendment Act 2017 was passed without amendment by both houses of Parliament. Agriculture Minister Carl Samuda says new regulations are now in place to ensure that all coffee being imported, packaged and sold locally will be mixed with Jamaican green beans. This is part of the ministry's efforts to boost the expansion of Jamaican coffee, which will in turn eliminate the importation of green beans. Minister Samuda says the reputation of the Jamaican coffee brand diminishes when imported coffee that is processed and packaged in Jamaica is mixed with cheap imported beans and sold to hoteliers.
I hope that this will be an encouragement for the investors. The same investors who are investing in Blue Mountain Coffee to invest in High Mountain Coffee and use that to blend with the Blue Mountain so that we will have a totally Jamaican coffee brand.
Minister Samuda was speaking at the inaugural Coffee Industry Symposium on Sunday. The Agriculture Minister is urging persons to comply with the new regulations, warning that those found in breach will incur hefty fines or imprisonment. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is calling for Jamaicans to practice responsible sexual behavior in order to prevent new infections of the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. Dr. Tufton made the call at the recent media launch of World AIDS Day 2017. He said currently Jamaica had an estimated 29,000 persons living with HIV, representing 1.6% of the adult population. Of this number, 85% have been diagnosed. The health minister says the National HIV/STI program has been seeing an increase in the reporting of HIV cases, voluntary counseling, and testing for the disease at antenatal clinics. Still, he says data shows continued insufficient condom use and high levels of multiple-sex partners among the general population as factors driving the epidemic. This year's HIV prevention activities will target adolescents and the youth.
Adolescents and young adults are at the increased risk for HIV due to the many developmental, psychological, social, and structural transitions that converge in this period of their lives. In addition, adolescent deaths result from HIV continue to rise despite declines in other age groups.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
November is dedicated to a lot of issues, and one of them touches the lives of every person living in Jamaica. As we continue to celebrate Local Government Month, let's head out the road to find out how you view this arm of public administration. And then we hear from the ministry about its ongoing plans to make local government meaningful for you.
I expect that the services that are to be given through the local government fraternity, street lights, garbage collection, community empowerment, youth involvement, women's issues, all the relevant issues, environment, spatial planning will all be recognized and integrated in a manner to ensure that my community is a better community.
Local governance means putting government in persons and community development.
Maintaining our roads, the buildings and the drainage and stuff like that. Set an example that the younger generation would follow as a good leadership as beginning from now.
Local governance means to me, from the cradle to the grave, it affects everybody. It's everybody's business. And if we appreciate the value that we add to our communities individually, and try to contribute positively to our community, then everybody will contribute positively to their country.
You see my white beard? I grew up in the country when Kingston was far from country, and the individuals in the communities felt a greater responsibility to be a part of the process. We have to go back to that perspective of encouraging them to understand that they are an important part of the process. Remind them that other global spaces, local government is tremendously important because the process from bottom up works to make a stronger national process.
A multi-million-dollar social protection program, improving the capacity of local authorities through education, upgrading crucial facilities, the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, transforming communities for economic and social growth.
Every aspect of life in the country, Mr. Speaker, requires the regulatory project input of local government. Approval for hotels, general business, housing project, large and small, require the input of local government.
$515 million will be made available to provide social assistance through municipal corporations. It includes a $115 million special fund to assist victims of fire. Each municipal corporation will also get $1.7 million to provide education grants to citizens and $1.5 million for the provision of funeral grants. $90 million is to care for those living in indigent houses, and each councillor will get access to $500,000 to provide needy constituents with housing assistance grants. Processing the applications for these benefits will be managed by the poor relief departments of the municipal corporations.
For many years, councillors have been able to do little more than comfort their constituents in the immediate aftermath of a disaster. This is why tangible changes are being made, starting this year, to give the elected councillors the financial tool to be effective.
$90 million will be spent to construct a new Portmore Municipal Council building.
Our next focus of attention, Mr. Speaker, is the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation. We have already started the design on that facility, Mr. Speaker.
5 markets across the island will be improved this fiscal year at a cost of $75 million. Meanwhile, $95 million will be spent to improve 5 infirmaries in Manchester, Portland, Trelawney, St. James, and Westmoreland. The outstanding public response to the property tax mobile units has prompted the ministry to buy another. The 2 units helped local authorities exceed their property tax collection target by over $350 million in the last fiscal year. The 3rd mobile unit will be retrofitted to collect cash in addition to other payment methods. And the ministry will be hosting a series of island-wide property tax town hall meetings to promote timely payments. A total of $350 million is now available in the country's National Disaster Fund to respond to hurricanes, floods, and other major incidents.
We'll be working to ensure, along with the Ministry of Finance, that we increase the amount that is held in reserve.
In the meantime, the country's hurricane preparation and response mechanisms will be reviewed. It will include the rationalization of shelter management and operations. Major tasks are to be completed this year by the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, OPM. Among the initiatives is the implementation of the Improvement in Emergency Communication for Jamaica project. This project will review and improve communication systems used in times of disaster. This year, trucks will be commissioned into service for garbage collection. The National Solid Waste Management Authority will also receive 2 compactor units from the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. To improve its capacity, the Fire Brigade is set to receive 4 pumper trucks and 2 water tankers at a cost of $173 million. Construction should also begin on the Montego Bay Fire Station, while designs for the Port Maria and Yallas Fire Stations will be completed. The ministry is working with the Management Institute for National Development MIND to develop a 2-year program of study on local government. The program will be offered to all local government personnel, starting with staff from the St. Thomas, Portmore, Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine municipal corporations.
This project is intended to develop local government to its full potential, to create lasting institutional memory.
The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development is on a path of transformation. New ideas are being developed and implemented to improve people's lives in a real sense.
If you've been following the latest news developments, then you likely know that government has extended a traffic ticket amnesty that allows persons with outstanding fines to pay them without penalty. Motorists, you've got from November 27 to January 13 next year to take advantage. While you consider that little reprieve, check out our next feature to find out just when your motor vehicle can or can't be seized by the police.
And I'll tell you first about the reasons when the police should not seize the vehicles, because they don't have the lawful authority to do so. If you don't have a driver's license in your possession, the police should not seize the vehicle. They can prosecute you under the Road Traffic Act. Now, there's a difference between not having a driver's license and not having your driver's license in your possession. If a person was never issued with a driver's license, that person clearly should not be driving a motor vehicle. What the police will do in those circumstances is that, for one, the person will be prosecuted. If they find out that the owner of the vehicle allowed the individual without a driver's license to use the vehicle, that person, the owner, can be prosecuted as well. Otherwise, the police will take possession of the motor vehicle, because they will not allow a continuation of the offense. They will take possession of the motor vehicle and will get someone who has a driver's license or the owner to come and claim that vehicle. We don't seize a motor vehicle for no insurance coverage. The person will be prosecuted, but it is not a seizable offense. No registration of fitness is not a seizable offense. The police can lawfully seize your vehicle if the vehicle is not licensed. There is a provision in law that is referred to as the month of grace. So 1 month after your registration expires, if you are within that 1 month period, the police should not seize the vehicle. Your vehicle can be seized lawfully if you don't have a registration plate affixed. So you're driving around with no registration plate, it can be seized. Or if the registration plate is so obscure that you can't see what's on it, your vehicle can be seized under the Road Traffic Act. There are other acts that the police can lawfully seize your motor vehicle. For instance, if you are operating in contravention with the provisions of your license that was issued to you, your vehicle can be seized under the Road Traffic Act as well. Also, under the Dangerous Drug Act, Section 24 of that act allow the police to seize vehicle if the vehicle is suspected to be used in commission of those offenses. Also, on a broader sense is that if the police have reason and evidence that your vehicle was involved in a criminal activity, then the vehicle can be seized and the owners can be held accountable even if they were not the ones that were driving the vehicle at the time. So those are the circumstances when your vehicle can be lawfully seized by the police. There are other provisions when you can have your vehicle towed. If you park in areas that are designated no parking, if you park your motor vehicles that are too close to fire hydrants, then your vehicles can be towed. And in instances where your vehicles are seized, the vehicle should not be returned to you until the provisions of the law is satisfied. So if your vehicle was seized for not being registered or licensed, it will not be returned to you until you go and get your vehicle licensed and you pay the appropriate and prescribed fines. Then your vehicle will be released to you. So it's important for persons to know when your vehicle can be lawfully seized as opposed to when it cannot be lawfully seized.
Motorists, know your rights as road users. If you're stopped by the police in a road check, the police have the right to ask for your driver's license and vehicle documents. If you don't have the documents on you, you can ask for 5 days to provide them at a convenient police station. If you don't have vehicle insurance, you can be prosecuted and face the court. If you fail to renew the registration license, the police are entitled to seize your vehicle. If the police wish to search your vehicle, they should tell you the reasonable grounds for wanting the search. If you are given a ticket, sign it only if you plan to pay the fine and not contest the charge in court. And please be reminded, children under 18 years must wear a seatbelt, even if they are seated in the back. Know your rights. Knowledge of the traffic road code makes it easier to work with the police as they do their job to make the road safer for you and everyone else.
All month long, we've been encouraging parents to be the influence. Be the ones to teach the next generation the value of love, honesty, and justice. We've probably all seen recent, not so positive examples of parents trying to exert their influence. We're certainly in no position to cast judgment on individual cases, but just a reminder that discipline is not to be confused with abuse. Don't tune out. Our next feature is a good reminder of why and how parents are being urged to be the influence.
Do I want my children to be assertive?
As the old adage says, the family represents the primary source of socialization.
Do I want to reinforce hard work? Do I want to reinforce generosity? How do I do that?
It is through effective parenting that positive values, attitudes, perceptions, and habits are developed.
Do I want my children to be independent?
November is Parents Month, and the theme, the mission, the call to action is to be the influence.
Take back the reins and you become the #1 influence in your child's life.
And the truth is that if parents don't accept this responsibility, then the void may be filled and will be filled by negative forces in our culture that do not support healthy morals and ethics for our families.
And that is why we're encouraging parents to be that influence, to not allow society to dictate who your child is going to be. We believe that parents ought to encourage dreams. There's nothing that's too far-fetched. We have to understand that present circumstances too do not dictate your future. So the fact that you are in a particular circumstance as a parent and you might feel downtrodden or heartbroken, it does not mean that that is where you have to remain. And it certainly does not mean that that is where your child has to remain. So there's no dream that's ever achieved without a plan. And after you chart the plan of action, you're going to help your child to keep fixed. Remember, this is what you had said you wanted to do. Remember, this is something you said you wanted to achieve. So you're going to keep the child fixed because that's what it means to be the influence. You don't want to impose your own ambitions on children. That's not something that works. Especially as teenagers, they're going to resist and they're going to rebel. And before you know it, you're at odds with your child because the direction in which you think your child ought to go is not what he thinks. It takes a conversation. Of course, you're going to motivate because everybody needs motivation from time to time, and especially children. They need to know that along the path, whether the knocks come, and it doesn't matter how frequently those knocks come, you're there to help them to get up and to stay the course. And you're going to also, along the way, give praise. Acknowledge the steps that they've taken along the way. Acknowledge that they have achieved.
The first one, honesty. Parents need to help children to find a way to tell the truth. And the best way to encourage truthfulness in your child is to be a truthful person yourself. The second one is justice. Insist that children make amends. You hurt someone's feelings, you hear your child saying something that's wrong, call them on it right away and let them know that even though you apologize, sometimes it's very difficult to take back what you're saying. The third value, determination. Encourage them to take on challenges. The fourth value, consideration. Teaching them to think about others, the feelings of others. And the last one, and it's my number one element of effective parenting, love. Teaching your children the value of love.
The Be the Influence campaign, which starts with Parent Month, is intended to target parents to adhere to one of the the three components of effective parenting. The Be the Influence actually will continue because we intend to have a 3-year campaign with the three components being get involved, be the example, and encourage dreams.
Be the Influence will support the NPSC's flagship initiative, the Parent Mentor Program.
The mentorship program, I intend to extend to have it across the country because I believe it's such a strong program. Here it is, parents are tooled and they get an opportunity to now help to improve the practices in parenting as they see them exhibited in their own communities, because the parents who become mentors are from the community. And so they go through 13 weeks of training in 10 modules in effective parenting.
There are currently 82 mentors and another 30 will graduate shortly.
While parents may not have the control they desire, they rarely lose the power to influence the lives of their children.
Take back the reins and you become the number one influence in your child's life.
Well, we promised you substance over hype. Did we deliver? Is there another topic you wanted us to tackle? Send us a note. Our email address is on screen. We're also on all the social media platforms. Right now though, we're all out of time, and of course you know the drill. This and our other shows are on our website and our YouTube channel. They're both worth a visit. Until the next time we visit you in television land, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.